But now they are. Oh, but it's that there's just somebody jumping in right in their place to replace it. So we're just getting this continuous flow of issues there. It's a hot spot and we're trying to hit it. We're going to continue to hit it and we're getting a lot of arrests out of there. I just don't know if any of those arrests have turned to incarcerations yet. That I don't know.
What's happening with the, supposedly was it the first week of January, there's a crew that was supposed to be patrolling that area daily, weekly?
So we do have the state's working the weekends. SBI, the State Bureau of Investigations, and DNR are helping out in that area. So we do have a lot of state help there. We had a bike squad that was going to be doing that. They've been sucked into downtown, so they get out here twice a week. That's one of the issues we've had is we've lost our full-time bike squad for the west side, but we do get them two times a week.
I just think that's.
There was a ORV there this week, but I stopped. First, it was taking off, it was being there. They were on the pathway. Last.
Were they in UTV? Or just walk over there? Okay.
We're right on the pathway.
Yeah, you're just right on the outside.
And everybody kind of just spreads from there, obviously.
That is, I'll tell you right now, that's the number one hotspot in the city. Well, I can't say anything for the east side because I'm afraid to go over there, but on the west side, that's the number one. That's the number one side. So we're working on that. Yes, you're first, then we'll go back.
Okay, you missed last month.
Yeah.
There was no, it's okay. There was an incident on UTA tracks that I brought up.
Okay.
About a guy that they picked him up at Fair Park, went out to the airport. This is 10:30 at night. Okay, he was doing drugs on the way back. And he passed out. He was on the floor of the tracks. Okay, car. It was one of the neighbors that put it on next door and he put his full scenario what happened. Okay, that guy was laying on the floor. The drugs and stuff with the foil. I don't know how to do it, whatever they do. Okay, he watched what happened to him. He was on that floor for 30 minutes. Okay, 4 stops. They finally got him off in Glendale, but he didn't know because he got off the stop. They finally got him off in Glendale. And the mayor's office is like, oh, well, it's UTA. Thank you, Josh. It's just UTA. There's not much and where else is supposed to go. And I said, the problem was they shouldn't have left him on there because they could see the camera. The guy called it in and said, hey, this guy's passed out on the floor of the tracks train. And, and 4 stops. Half an hour later, they finally get him off. UTA, I finally got a hold of UTA. They said, well, yeah, he was, and it was 30 minutes from when they called it in. The gentleman, not the driver, but the person. And I asked why you weren't here. So I want to know, why wasn't the police? I understand it's UTA, but somebody should have gotten on that track train to find out if that guy was dead or alive,
Right.
or whatever, sometime, because they know where he's going to stop.
Right.
It's not like he's out there walking on the street. So what is the position of the police department, UTA, on that?
So UTA does have their own police department.
I understand that.
And
They were
we-
cleaning track trains.
Yeah, we'll communicate. So if they can't get to it, we can get to it. If we can't get to it, they'll get to it. So I don't know if there was a communication issue on that one, but I really need to look that one up and see why that
I've got
was.
the time, the date,
Okay.
the clip.
Okay, if you text it to me, it'll be really easy for me to figure that out.
If I can get the number, yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah,
will,
I'll-
because UTA does not call me back. I mean, he gave it, I went to the mayor's office, her liaison, Nick, looked into it, got a hold of UTA after about a week. He said, I want to know, someone know if they put the car back in service or did they clean it? You know what I'm
Was it a
saying?
death? Did it turn down?
No,
Okay.
actually, I'm sorry, he was alive. They
Okay.
got him off and they cited him and got him off, but they didn't know. And this observer was saying he wasn't moving that whole time. And they'd all moved out because the tourists are coming out of the airport, right?
Mhm.
And they filled the car and all of a sudden, oh crap, we're in the wrong car. And they can't get away from it until the next stop to move out of the car. And everybody was getting in the next car. So it was bad. I'm sorry, it was really, really bad, but I won't give you the
Okay.
information because
I'm gonna give you my number. Again, anybody, this is my cell phone number, so if you want to write it down, send me a text, just preference it. Texts are easier for me to get a hold of or to respond back to because it has a little bit of a receipt with it. It's 385. And I think it's on our website, Salt Lake City's website. I think it's on, I don't know if we have a link to it or not. Okay, 385-549-9262.
549 what?
9262.
Say that again, please.
Yep, 385. Oh, wait. It's the cold brain here. I'm trying to figure this out. 385-549-9262. Is that right, Josh? Okay.
3555.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with Rose Park Baseball, just putting a pitch in for that. I'll probably mention myself later. Hi, y'all.
Kitchen.
Riverside Park, we've seen drastic progress in our like kind of homeless and drug use in recent days. So thank you for your efforts. And please continue to work on that because soon we're gonna have all of our players back over there. I also, we often find needles and stuff and try to get those cleaned up before kids encounter them, but do you have a recommendation on like, can we get like needle dispensaries stationed at the bathrooms or something like that?
Sure, we can get a Sharps container. You can,
No.
oh, go ahead.
I don't want to do it. I want.
There's an ideological battle between harm reductionists who want to control it and people who think.
They're using the needles and they're leaving them for our kids to get
So,
HIV. And so
Follow
I'm
me.
like dispensaries and I'm a healthcare provider. And so I'm with you. I don't like drug use, but risk reduction is an important part of this discussion.
as far as a Sharps container, that's something parks in the city will have to work out. You can always call us and we'll come down and pick them up and dispose of them. That's probably the easiest bet,
Okay.
easiest way. Give me a call. If you see them anytime, just give me a ring, a
Yeah.
text, and I'll come over and pick them up when I'm down. If
I
not,
mean,
and
I
that's,
think we
that's,
can
that's
all
my
try
job.
to
So,
help out, but
yeah,
I like the preventative measures, of course, like
Right.
helping to kind of keep the parks clear. So thank you for your efforts there.
yeah, you bet. Yeah,
I'd just like to say thank you too. With spring coming, we have these kids that can't even ride their bikes on the trail. They can't go to any park. They can't even go to the restaurants or the gas station without being confronted. But this situation goes from North Temple all the way past the golf course. We have people coming through the golf course now and coming down the road on Victoria Way and the Frontage Road and jumping in backyards. It really needs to be an emphasis with the city to clear this out before spring. We need to have our community back. And it's not here.
and like I said, we will come out on anything, right? That's what we're called for. That's what
Every
we're doing.
single day, twice a day needs to be. done.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know how many
Take
times
a
I've
bus to home.
driven up and down that trail. Yeah, it's a work in progress, but we do have some things that Commander Cluff's throwing at the problem. Hopefully we'll see some changes.
It's not fair, it's not fair for our kids. They can't even ride a bike safe. They can't even go to baseball practice.
No, and that is an
And we
issue.
need to recapture.
Yeah, and one of the, I don't know if you just noticed that we got a new police chief, just got one today. So we're kind of excited. We'll see what happens. Yeah, that's pretty much. Are there any other questions? Is there anything I didn't answer that I could answer? Or- Oh,
My
fine.
No worries. Saying quite a bit disappointed to hear about the bike squad not being here full time, because we've spent 2 years working on getting that. We were promised by the previous chief, mayor's office, that once the staffing got up to levels, we would have a dedicated bike squad here. It's only been a few months and now it's not here.
I think there is a plan. I think there is money for a dedicated West Side Bike Squad.
There's a dedicated fund for the Jordan
River, yes, that's what I'm
Trail
talking about.
squads. This is actually, I don't want to put you on the spot. It's the first time I'm hearing that our bike squad has been diluted. I'm willing to bet that it's because the legislature, when they're in session, their paths to the Capitol have to be pristine, otherwise hell rains down on us. And so this has been my perennial drumbeat, but it's the first time I've heard that our bike squad, my understanding is that we've had a bike squad. We added money for a Jordan River Trail squad.
So the bike squads were all sucked into the.
We spent 2 years
Yeah.
trying to get that, and we had it for
Yeah.
less than 6 months, and now we don't have it. So we're gonna have to spend 2 years to get.
I hope not. I hope not. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. I think with the funding for the JRT is gonna be a huge plus. So yeah, it's not something any of us were super excited about.
And there's drug scenes from their park up to the golf course.
Yeah.
It was my understanding for the past few, what was it, November, December. People stood up here and said that this is what we're going to have first or second week of January.
Yeah, I think that was the JRT spot.
Don't you think it's absurd that you can all stand up here and say, A is going to happen and it doesn't?
Well, I think we're still gonna get the GRT squad. It's just
And in the
the,
meantime, I can't even go walk like that, like this one was saying.
no, I
These are not
I
kids.
get it, I get it, get it. Completely understand.
No.
Yeah, yeah, so, I know you probably don't care about the numbers. I want you to sit down anyway, but
I
yeah.
have a question for you. What can we do and who can we call and who can we text besides you to, for support? So like, as a local citizen, to who do I email daily, 5 times a week, 2 times a day? Who do I email? Who are the list of people that I need to put pressure on so they will hear me?
Is
That's
this
my question.
for law enforcement specifically?
For
Or
the
both?
Jordan Trail Trip,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm really disappointed because about pre-pandemic, there was a huge launch at the Northwest Rec Center, and they had beautiful displays out, and they showed all the improvements that were gonna happen in the Jordan River. And I went down there and I talked to all the people and I rubbed elbows and I said, gosh, this looks great. Well, lo and behold, that has not changed. And then last spring, I went down to Matisso's for their Jordan River launch. And I went down there and I noticed the main guy in charge made sure not to talk to me, but everybody else did. And I went and talked to him and looked at the beautiful plans, and they had sticky notes, what would work and what wouldn't work. And I said, this looks great, but who's gonna pick up all the trash? This looks great, but who's gonna maintain this? Oh, this looks good, but who's gonna do this? So my question is, I've also emailed my local representatives and they said, oh, that's great. And can you please send us pictures? And I do have some pictures. I don't really necessarily know if they're appropriate because I've been taking them. And mostly I just send to my friends back east and they just laugh at me because it's kind of rank, but it's a gag for them, you know, silly stuff like that. But who do I email? Because I'm a good little emailer. I can email and numerous people. But I think that it's the channels, because I know I can go walk on the east side and I can have free fare of a lot of places and nobody's really bothering me unless I buy the liquor stores. But it seems like over here, I do not have free fare to walk. In fact, my daughter can't even walk home from golf practice if here get something happening to her.
1 mile away,
1 mile away, yeah.
can't walk.
And that's one of the reasons why we bought. And we said, gosh, this trail's so nice. It's like an escape into nature. There's turkeys on the trail and there's turtles on the trail. And gosh, the neighbors are so nice and everybody's just so wonderful. I grew up in this neighborhood by the Fair Park and my parents, gosh, they walk down the Fair Park all the time. They used to geese over there. I remember as a child, I used to walk around with easy breezy, lemon squeezy. And now, for Pete's sakes, last week I had to call the cops on somebody on my walk because there was a crazy person in their crazy van, druggy, all like singing and serenading, I love you out the window. And you could just smell it reeking out the window. And I had to call and say, hi, my name's an assistant. And this, every time do I go on a walk, do I call in an incident and take pictures? Am I the new gumshoe on the street solving the problems? Who do I call to report all of these wonderful incidents to?
The whole group here can help.
Oh, absolutely, and I get
Because
that, you know,
the pressure needs to be applied, because it's all good, and I appreciate your work, and I appreciate your time and your dedication, I appreciate you listening to us, but you can't be the person who we need to call and talk to. Who else? We need a list.
I do the same thing. I email, it falls, I email 5 different people. I rarely ever get responses. And I take numerous pictures. I write pages upon pages. So I'm in the same boat as you. It doesn't matter how many emails, you can send 100 a day to everyone.
I
They're
was,
not going to respond.
and there was only
Josh,
one
where are you?
person that emailed me back.
Yeah, exactly.
There's only
Respond to my emails.
I have to
Be civil,
No,
please.
hey, first off, if there's any crime, an email's not gonna help. 911's the one to call, 799-3000, that's for criminal aspects. If it's a civil issue, then we gotta go up to a different aspect, and you're gonna have to reach out to the mayor's office or to another division. Okay, but if it's criminal, absolutely, 799-3000 or 911. Those are the two ways to do it. You can't email, you can't go on the app and report it on the app, it's just not gonna get to us. So those are the 2 ways, and then after the fact, once you get that little case number, you can text that to me and I'll do a follow-up. So that's the easiest part. But for as far as cleanup and stuff like that, that's gonna have to go through the city.
Okay, so then I need to reach out to somebody in the city
Yeah.
for support, and then just support those units.
Emphasize you need to get a case number, or it
Yes.
doesn't get recorded as an incident that goes into the metrics.
We'll still get a log number. Anytime you call, we'll get a log number. So there's something.
So if I
recorded.
report something, then I'll get the case number and I'll put that on the email. But if I'm not witnessing a crime, and I guess you put loitering, now is loitering a crime? Is panhandling a crime?
So there's different aspects that, yes, it could
So
be.
that's what we would need. We need a list of what can we call in for? So if they're just standing around smoking cigarettes, that might be not right. But if they're all together smoking cigarettes and then making the area unsafe and it makes you feel threatened and you don't feel safe walking there, is that a crime? What's it deduces a crime?
So it all depends on the situation and the circumstance, right? So if they're on the parkway after curfew, it's a crime, right? You can't go on the curfew. Or on the park or in a parkway or on the trail or anywhere after curfew. That's where we get a lot of our issues is at night, once it goes dark.
I see it during the day.
Oh,
In fact,
yeah.
on Saturday, we just went to the dog park and I noticed that when we left, there was people that tagged along with us for safety in numbers because they were like, oh, God, somebody's leaving. Great, quick, let's go with them so we are not attacked on our way out. It was just out of control. When you walked in, I thought, geez, Louise, hurry up, button it up and tighten it up and stay laser focused. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to start taking Taekwondo classes just to take my dog to the dog park as a fear of self-defense.
No, the dog park's a really bad spot right now. That's the same spot in between Cottonwood, back Boston Elementary and the baseball fields. It's just a really bad spot right now. We're just throwing what we can at it and we're getting arrests. We're getting a lot of arrests. So,
I like Rosewood, sometimes it smells like the sewer.
We don't air drum.
so,
Do you have any stats you need to get?
yes, well, I don't need to.
Do we want to hear stats?
Did we move it?
No, it's the water recommendation.
You know, I have a question.
Yeah.
So Thomas Gilmore for the record. So the little pieces of tinfoil all over the trail. Like, that are built the trail. But full-time biker, I bike the trail every day, with my own life at stake. By the way, especially by Backman Elementary, because underneath that, where the trolls live underneath that bridge, there can be 25 full-grown men underneath there. Biking through there as a fully grown adult now, I'm scared. And we're right next to a school, but my question is, the pieces of tinfoil, are those laced with drugs? Can people touch them? And who is to remove those pieces? of
I wouldn't touch them. That's where they store it and cook the drug on.
tinfoil? And
So
they're staying on
it is paraphernalia and we can use that for a site and catch them with it. Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend it. We have teams that can come out and do that. Advantage Services can come out and clean
So
those.
that's what we text.
But I mean, it's,
Yes,
I
well-
can show you my bike ride yesterday and it's literally
Oh, I know. Right on that pedestrian bridge on the way to Backman, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, we built that bridge for kids here.
The new one? Are you talking
Yeah,
the
the
new one?
new bridge. We
Yeah.
built that for kids and, I mean, look what happened, guys. Like,
Yeah, we do.
So at what point, just real quick, at what point is it our job to police this area? Like, at what point is it coming into the community to do something? Because, thank goodness the state jumped in. But at what point do we need, and what can we do? Can we form a posse?
Neighborhood watch. And that's the extent of it.
Oh, State jumps in, one area that they desire gets cleaner. That's what happened with Operation Rio Grande. The first time I had a bike stolen, I'm on number 9 now. And now, love you, the North Temple corridor is suddenly really, really hot and in demand. And now you and I can't step outside of our house. So I don't know that I'm saying, thank God the state jumped in, because for some reason, we're not Utahns when it comes to the state, because they don't think of all of us. They think of the part that they're seeing and wanting. So I don't know that I want to say, thank God the state jumped in, if they're not going to comprehensively view this as a Utah crisis that needs to be addressed.
You can take the Parkway Trail from Roy to Provo, and you can see where the problem is, and it's Rose Park.
Yeah, but see, they moved it from Fair Park, right?
Yeah,
Over there,
it's
North
coming.
Temple, it's gonna
Yeah,
shift,
it's
we
coming.
know that.
I mean,
Well, it
100
used to be
south,
all-
2100 south is bad too. So.
It used to be all Carter Park, now it's spread out. It's spread out to Sugar House, to downtown, to our neighborhood.
We do have more on our
It's just
agenda
spread
tonight,
out.
so we do need to.
I'll get out of here whenever you want. Okay.
So we will roll. Thank you, Detective Oliver. We will now pass to the mayor's office with Josh. Again, I'm going to plead with you to be respectful. and we will not tolerate it if we were not.
So I'm hearing everyone's frustration. The mayor is hearing it. I'm hearing it. I've heard from a lot of you. I've heard from a lot of community members who are upset about the crime and about the drugs on the Jordan River Trail, about homelessness. It's something that the mayor is upset about, and it's something that that people within the city are working on every day. The mayor just appointed a new police chief, as you know. He gets to work. He started today. The mayor will be visiting this community council meeting next month. To speak with the community and to hear from the community. And of course, the mayor has also asked for our new chief to also come here. Because the chief, if you watched his interview with the council yesterday, he mentions a lot how he wants to be close to the community and meet with the community where they are. So we are working on getting him over here too, to talk with you as that community. As the council member, referenced, state has stepped in. The state has gotten really involved in this issue. Currently, the legislature is wrapping up this week. There'll be some bills that will affect homeless services and the way that the city has to deals with homelessness. And we have to wait and see how the dust settles on that. The city has to enter into a partnership with the state under one bill. And then there's another that involves using eminent domain for creating more shelter capacity. So there's a lot of moving pieces.
We
Also,
don't have a homeless problem, we have a drug problem on the trail.
yeah, so there is definitely a drug problem. We do, it's, yeah.
It's gonna get on some kids someday. And we gotta fix it now.
Right, for sure, absolutely. So yeah, there's some things that are coming up also. Salt Lake County down in South Salt Lake. They're currently almost about to open the new receiving center down by the county jail, which will be for those people who are in mental health crisis, to have them to be taken to be seen, to be routed to mental health services. And so that will be opening, I think, have you heard, do you know when that's supposed to be opening? Is that next
No,
month?
I heard today that the state cut their commitment to it. And so now there's a $3 million donut.
Okay, I've not heard that. Okay, but that's,
I feel quite hopeless actually.
Yeah.
Tell us to do it, but they won't help.
that is tough. Regardless, the city's not gonna give up on this issue. The city's gonna keep working on it. The mayor didn't make a public safety plan for fun. As the mayor, she is in charge of the city, in charge of the well-being of the city. She takes the responsibility seriously. There are some forces at work here that are very complicated. The internet, drug trade, the movement of drugs through our state, across borders, homelessness, the rise and increase of housing costs, so many things that are converging in this community. And it's not an excuse. Obviously, we know that everyone is suffering. Everyone is seeing this every day. It hurts. It hurts to see people in that position. And so I hear it from you. I'm hearing from you. I appreciate getting calls and getting emails. And I also, understand that I want to get back to you. If you reach out to me and I don't get back to you, please send me another email. Please try to call me. I know that's not great, but there's a lot of things that come up, and I'm not trying to let things fall to the cracks, or we're not trying to do that. We do want to hear everyone and take in the feedback and be as advocate for the community as much as we can and do what we can as a city to solve this issue.
What is the city doing about habitual offenders and service-resistant RV owners?
So
Because I'm not seeing anything.
coming down the pike is going to be a new ordinance dealing with camping. And it's going to include provisions about RV camping that will hopefully enable compliance and those that work with parking to be able to act prior to 48 hours in most cases. It doesn't fully solve the issue because they're still going to be ending up pushing people around, but the thought and the goal is to at least help them be able to respond quicker when there are emergency parking issues and, large encampments and things that need to be cleaned up.
Does that mean you're
So-
gonna put up signs that say no camping?
There are plenty of signs that say that in different places. There's always a lot of different places that we can add signage. The signage is one part. having the ability to enforce and the resources to enforce and be able to do that effectively is what makes the signage effective also. And so, but yes, the city's always looking at places to put signage where it's needed and where it can be effective. So if there's any suggestions for that, I mean, you could really see it about anywhere really, but yeah, signage is just one of the things, but enforcement and having resources there is probably more important than signage.
Timeline would be on that ordinance.
I don't have a timeline, I mean, it's gonna be transmitted to city council. But I just know it's coming down from the conversation I had today with Andrew Johnston, who is the mayor's, the director for homeless services for the city.
Thinking before or after budget season?
Probably, I don't know, I couldn't tell you.
I'll push for it, Jason. I'll ask Andrew for it.
It's the difference between whether it happens in 2 months or 6 months.
Even when it happens, it's like, we funded the JRT back in June, we're still training people who will do it because we couldn't take laterals from downtown. Like, it's screaming into the wind.
I do like downtown, how they have those people walking around as liaisons. I think that's really nice. And I like to see, sometimes they're picking up trash, which is cool. Would there ever be a chance for having liaisons on our side by North Temple?
They are.
Because I see it mostly downtown.
They
I'm
are,
sorry.
the yellow jackets.
Downtown ambassadors,
Yeah,
and they're part of the, the Downtown Alliance, but the city funds them as well, and they've gone down to ballpark area, North Temple. And yeah, I mean, if it makes sense, that city council through funding and through the mayor's budgets can always expand their presence and expand their numbers if it's something that can help. And so I'm not in the budget process right now, but when that comes out, I think that's something that we'll have to look at. Yeah.
Now you're dealing with the problem we have with the cross in the trail over here with the homeless and everything. And I hear about the shelter gonna be built somewhere over here also with these people. That gonna make it worse. I think this situation we deal with right now with the problem over here already we have. Now the next question is, I think I suggest to wherever we're gonna be planning to do this kind of stuff, really think about how they gonna resolve or what things they're gonna do, because they think the problem is gonna be increasing. One. Second is, who is providing all these drugs to these people? Who is that? Who is the top over there who is providing them? And where is the authorities to?
That's probably a question for Detective Oliver, more about like the sourcing of the drugs and where's that all coming from.
It's
But-
cartel. It's cartel's funding everything. So it's a lot more than just.
We do have an online question as well.
Yes.
So they're asking if the,
In theory, here's a question.
Okay.
basically wanting to know if the presence on the Jordan River Trail is going to continue.
Yes,
Police presence or the?
Yeah.
yes, so that's not gonna let up. They're not gonna reduce the number at all. Obviously, we heard about the bike squad and some of the issue there, but that's not the intention at all. I mean, if that happened, that had to have been for some other need somewhere that they were put to, but there's not gonna be any directive at all to take away officers from the Jordan River Trail and from the west side.
what about his first question? when he's talking about-
Except for the bike squad as far as, but in a permanent basis, I'm sorry, yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I did not know about that until just now.
What about his first part of his question? About the location?
The shelter? About, so I don't know, I don't currently know the location, about the shelter. You know, obviously it's gonna be on the west side, but we know from the state, if they're gonna do eminent domain, they're gonna take land from somewhere out here, out west, to do that.
It's supposed to be
And-
up of 2,200 by the old pig farm, is what we.
Okay, I've not even heard that, so that's,
Same area, just still leave them on here.
right.
Which has no public transportation.
Right.
In-
And it's-
And no services.
In every other case of,
Unincorporated Salt Lake, if there's any land. In
Say
reality,
that again, Nick.
that's the only place in unincorporated, you can Google unincorporated Salt Lake City and you can find out pretty well where it's going to be.
so, yeah, that I can't, what I would say to that is that whenever there's homeless services put up in a neighborhood, There's always concerns about public safety. Currently at our homeless resource centers, they have dedicated squads of police officers there. There had been, quite a few problems at the resource center and 300 West with a lot of the businesses around there. Ever since they've had a squad there dedicated at that homeless resource center, that problem has increased has improved dramatically. And the amount of crime has decreased a lot as far as business crime, thefts, broken windows, things like that. That has been very effective. So every time that there's been a public safety plan about making sure that the facility itself is safe, the perimeter is safe, the surrounding neighborhood has extra security and extra presence of officers is also going to be needed. So that's a conversation that's going to have to be had when there's a location that we can.
But how much more can those park?
And I agree with you totally. I think,
I mean, we've
yeah.
been bashed a lot.
yeah, for sure. That's going to be, it's from, it's a state, the city would not choose to.
Has no choice in
But
that at all.
we're still getting bashed and we are like
Right.
the.
Josh can't
ugly
fix that
stepsisters.
for us.
Right. No, but I appreciate you saying that anyway. Because it's true, regardless of whether we're doing it. And yes, thank you.
Josh, can I ask, as far as the homeless resource centers are concerned, are those drug-free campuses?
Yes.
They're supposed to be, but okay, so I guess my follow-up question to that then would be, to what end? Because that's not fixing the problem. The problem is the homeless people that are addicted to drugs.
Right.
So having a drug-free campus doesn't help the problem.
Right. So that's the idea of creating more services to have different low barrier shelters where they don't have
So-
those requirements. And
A follow-up to that then is the low barrier shelter going to be this new one. The state and the city have worked out together. That's really what's happening. The state and the city are working this out together so that the state can take this via eminent domain, right? Is that gonna be the new low barrier shelter? So then we get all the drug addicts at this resource center.
Tyler Clancy's bill makes it a felony to use any drugs on any site, current or future. So it won't theoretically, we know what happens in theory when
Sure.
it crosses the highway. But theoretically, there is a bill that would make it a felony. It's not a felony to be high, but to be using, carrying, possessing, distributing, any of that is a felony.
Distributing, I can see. Using that's gonna make it real tough, make any dent in the homeless problem.
All right, so we are at time here. So last question.
So this happens in every state. So Salt Lake City is the big city, so all problem is pushed on us. So if the state's gonna come up with bringing the money into, that's another issue. You can't have the police just constantly arresting people. We don't have room in the jail, and it's just gonna be a revolving door. The state has got to provide funds to help people get off the drugs. We need some
That's
kind
where
of
Todd
campus
Wheeler needs
that's
to
gonna
come
help
in.
people get off the drugs.
Even their labor.
One thing. All right, just
So-
I have one other announcement, just real quick before I go. It's not to do, it is related, though. It's very important. The Northwest Community Plan, I put out some flyers out there. So the city, through the planning division, is updating the Northwest Community Plan, which includes all of the neighborhood of Rose Park. We just got done talking about how the state controls a lot of our land and a lot of things that we don't have say over. Community plans at the city level are things that community members have a lot of influence over. And so, please learn more about this. There's going to be a meeting here next Thursday at 5:30 in this room. And then on the 19th, which is a Wednesday, at Northwest Community Center, so at 5:30. And so the process of this is to update this plan that was last updated in 1992 to current day. And so we would need community input for that from the planning division. So please look at that, get involved in a lot of different ways. And I want to make sure that you all have my contact information so you can reach out to get the ear and of someone in the mayor's office. And so I'll make sure that you guys have it. I don't know if you can put it up there or I'll share it with you and you can put it out there again for those who have not been here before.
Thanks, Josh.
Perfect. Thank you, Josh.
Okay, thanks.
We did have an online comment, just wanting to thank Salt Lake City for all their efforts.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, crowd, for being civil. Our council person, Victoria Petro, it's your floor.
I don't know if you want to hear from me or if you just want to talk. I'm happy with either.
It's been yelling in the wind, like I told you. We have been up at the legislature. I have not checked my email in several weeks. I have not attended a basketball game for my son in several weeks because we have been up there. There are bills ranging everything you've talked about. There's a couple things that are probably more frustrating to the east side than to us. For instance, the state is trying to preempt any road plans that we have. That's a real big issue for us and might impact what they're wanting to do on 600 and 700 North. If you're concerned about that, I'll give you more information about that.
195 has been modified where I think we're carved out. Might affect Fourth North.
Oh, you're right, they did carve the west side out. Yes, but anytime we want to put bike lanes or anything in, the state wants to do another review. It's fantastic. It's a great use of resources. I'm thrilled about it. We had a bill that was going to allow for the proliferation of authorities with less oversight. Thankfully, that one died a painful death last night. We had the public safety bill, which essentially was codifying the mayor's plan, but threatening our road revenue if we didn't do what they said without metrics. So we've modified it, but they slipped in the eminent domain on us. It is not the state and the city. It is the homelessness council. The mayor does have a seat on it, but the private sector is here. So this problem should have been solved. The private sector is here. That's who solves problems. It's still not solved. They gave themselves a deadline of proposing a spot in October for where this shelter would go, and we still don't have a site. I'm fighting for information. I don't have it either. So we have 2 full days left of this legislative session. They're there right now. I propose that we throw a festival in honor of our legislator. Our West Side legislators have fought off the worst of everything, advocated for funding for us, and been shot down at every turn. Senator Plum's homelessness bill was shot down and not even given a fair hearing. We have had excellent representation, all to no avail. There are 19 freshman representatives who came in who wanted to make a stance, and they sure did make it. Homelessness funding will be at an all-time low since the crisis. We don't know where the governor is on any of this. We're going to work hard with the private sector. And I spoke with Andrew Johnston today and said, whatever happens, we don't have the resources. And I repeatedly said, I'm not going to gentrify through property tax increases. So we're not going to increase your property tax. Where is the revenue going to come from? Because we're kind of on our own to solve this crisis. So I don't know what the answer is, but that's what the next chapter is. I would like to offer you all, if you're interested in it, working groups with me, small groups where we can get together monthly leading up to budget. I have a few strategies for things I want to insert into the budget that will help us, even when I get them in the budget, like the Jordan River Trail. We asked for that to be staffed when the funding started in July, but every other area of the city could not lend us officers. In fact, I just learned, are lending other areas in the city out. I'm sorry to say this, like, I wish I had better news, but I feel a little bit at wit's end as to how to, I think I'm doing what we need to do, and I'm feeling at wit's end. So if you all feel you have strategies, if you're seeing things I'm not seeing, if you are wanting to make a more comprehensive public record and a strategy to stand, my offer to you is that I will commit my time. I'm not in leadership. I can organize my contracts that actually pay my mortgage, and I can meet with you monthly and create a West Side strategy for budget season to try to not only allocate the money, but demand the energy too. Not only did we appoint a new chief of police yesterday, we appointed a new director of public lands. Those 2 things conflated are huge for us because so much of the stuff that the police have to respond to happens on our public lands. I have asked for a series of small focus groups so that you all can meet and talk to them and be angry. They are aware that there is West Side anger. So if you need to be angry and passionately show the police chief that you're not really okay with giving our bike squad 3 days a week to another side, we also have those opportunities. I wish I had better answers. I'm with you. I have 3 kids who can't walk down to Riverside Park and play. I too bought here because it felt like the place where my grandparents had me grow up with them in me. And I'm with you. We are under siege. But whatever you all need, I'm willing to try. But it does all feel a little bit like I need a new tool. We need a new tool. So
I just made the analogy in our group chat that our area is feeling neglected by the city, the way that the city is being neglected and put upon by the state. It's like a kick the dog scenario. And we need to figure out as a community, instead of throwing blame, instead of saying, you know, you're responsible for this, we're responsible for that. We need to work together to support Victoria as our representative. If we need to show up on a Tuesday night city council meeting, let us know.
I mean,
Those of
you
us
all
that are
work
in
multiple
the-
jobs, though.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
like,
And,
this is not.
That, you know, the issue that a lot of us know is the situation, is the fact that we are the workers for the city, and our schedules don't always align with being able to go to these meetings, especially during the working hours, the working meeting part. What can we do to help ourselves instead of sitting here over and over and over every month, listening to the same thing? How can we help?
For me, going into budget season, I know who I hear from. Adam is like gold star constituent. I know it frustrates him because there's no possible way for me to respond to him as much, but I have so much data from Adam. There is currently a person running in District 3 for that seat, and the platform is the West Side has been getting too much attention.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding you. This is like if we get a blade of grass more, it's a thing. But Adam, even though it frustrates him that I have a dossier from him of things. What ends up happening is you might notice I feel things deeply and I express them passionately. And I'm in a council with a lot of people who don't. And so I end up getting told that I'm just making too much of it, or I'm too emotional because I have kids, right? When I have your words, when I have Adam's pictures, when I have the number of times that I've been contacted, it makes me not alone. So when you were talking about who you email, even if you don't get a response, email it to council comments. Because when I go and I tell my co-counselors, I need the money for this, and they say, but Sunnyside Park needs new concrete on a trail. I can say, I can say this is, these things are not equal, right? I can. Is it council.comments@slc.gov? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I think it's,
I've got it.
you've got it, okay,
Yeah, I've got
okay. But if you do it, the office aggregates it for us.
Council comments.
Yes, and just be general, you know, like don't, I get it. You want to hear back from us, but what we're doing is we're building a dossier.
So you think it's data driven is what I'm hearing. So.
Well, and the part of the problem,
So we need to be more, diligent with our data.
one of my longer term goals is to change the way we collect data. Right now, data is if you complain. So on the east side, I always joke, if someone gets their bike stolen in District 6, you get like 3 calls about it. You get it from the people the bike was stolen from, the neighbor who thinks they heard something, and the teacher who saw the kid crying over their stolen bike. On the west side, if we don't feel the breeze from the bullet, we don't call things in. We have a strong anti-snitch culture. We have a strong, we'll pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and handle it ourselves culture. So when complaints are your main vehicle for determining where to distribute service and how to distribute service, we're always going to be disadvantaged. I work 4 different contracts outside of council. The last thing I want to do is get on an app and tell you that there was graffiti. I'll just scrub it myself, right? Like, there's a cultural difference here. So my long-term goal is to get to the place where data isn't just complaint driven. At this point in time, for me to build a case, the complaints are still the best avenue. And I'm sorry, I wish I could look you in the eye and tell you I had made the changes. Every time I feel like I make a change, I feel like there's a loophole I didn't see that says we can delay that change a little further. But this is the best I have right now. If you all see things I don't, I want to like have a regular dialogue with you, because clearly, she had her hand up first and then I'll come right back to you.
I just had a question. 20 years ago, we had the strongest mobile watch. I was the coordinator for that. We had 200 people. What's the city's take on mobile watch now? And do they supply? At that time, they would supply you with radios. They would supply.
I'll support a budget appropriation for that.
With, you know, things to put on your car, but going down the trail. I mean, and then it disappeared. So I don't know. But we used to have Sugar House who used to call us and say, could you please come and help us patrol?
Would you mind if we contacted you? I would love, going into budget, that feels like a really easy thing. If we can organize it and find some safeguards, I would support a budget appropriation for that. I offered him.
Yeah.
So final
State
question.
here, right?
I'm sorry.
It's form of state here for budgeting, right? And I'm not saying making the homeless population a human casualty. Go to these centers in Congress and say, well, why don't we threaten them with busing into their communities?
I've
I
told,
mean, it happens, we get bussed here from other states.
I'm,
Just go, hey, go to Ron Ivan and go, hey, why don't we send a busload to your neighborhood and you can deal and see how you like it?
I think we should ask everyone where they either went to high school, where their last permanent address is, or where their nearest relative is. And send them. It's not humane to keep shuffling people around, but
It's
it's also not humane to let them become prey for a cartel.
I'm not saying doing it, but I don't want to make them, a casualty.
I'm with
Threaten
you.
them, hey, we'll send a busload.
But also I
We'll
can't
send a
make
busload to
you,
your
I can't make you the human casualty either. Like, you all are subsidizing with your mental health. I'm subsidizing with my mental health. What the state refuses to do, what the county can't do, what the city is bound and not able to do. Like, we can't possibly do that.
And we can't afford it.
And we are good on time. So if you want to answer questions afterwards, would that work?
Yeah, I'll stick around until the end, okay?
We do need to move on to our other presentations. And so we have a representative here this evening from Larry H. Miller Group, and we'd like to offer them our time.
While they're doing all the tech stuff, I don't know how many of you heard, but Neil that runs Neil's Pro passed away this week. He's been a fixture in the Rose Park community forever. So just wish our condolences to the family.
Yes.
Be either on the Zoom.
The idea.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, sorry about that. Thanks for the invite to welcome us back. It's been a little bit since we've been here. So I'm Kelsey Berg. I work for the Larry H. Miller Company. And we'll just write kind of a quick update. There's a lot that's happened, but not a lot at the same time. It's kind of where we're at this point. And I'll just say, your new Public Works Director, Kim Shelley, is awesome. She used to work for the State Division of Environmental Quality and worked a lot with her when I worked for Senator Romney. So she is awesome. So your new police chief is great too. I only worked with him a little bit, but anyway, you have awesome people, that'll be there. So just to I'm kind of in the way. But so this is kind of all the stuff that has happened in the last not 6 months. I don't know. It all blends together. So the assemblages. So the Larry Miller Company has bought pretty much all of the property from the Jordan River west along North Temple and to Redwood Road. Signed agreements for Rocky Mountain Power, all finalized. Went through an awesome experience last year working with the city, Councilmember Petro and I, we worked closely, but a great partnership with Salt Lake City to kind of finally get everything. Everything was so mismatched on what the zoning was and everything else, try to put under one zoning map. And we worked really close with that to make sure that we worked with it on the city level and didn't go to the states. Demolished the ABF trucking that was on the right on the west side, right along North Temple. And now we're working on an application to do environmental remediation. There were some diesel tanks and other things that were some problems there. The Ramada is currently under demolition, and hopefully that I'm definitely not a crime and homeless expert, but there is some of the talk there. I guess the idea of trying to take away some of these hot spots where people hang out. There was like a Motel 6 and those other things that have been problems. Hopefully by getting the Ramada down in level as well, that takes away some of that draw there. There's been a couple fires there and all sorts of other stuff. So hopefully we get that out. There's also asbestos there that we're remediating at the same time, all sorts of issues. So that's as we're kind of taking everything down to the ground. The big thing you'll see going up is Rocky Mountain Power is groundbreaking for their headquarters this fall. And that'll be the first building that'll kind of rise up and be the kind of the key anchor. We have submitted for a federal grant, us in partnership with State Forestry, Fire and Lands, the Jordan River Commission, a grant for the Jordan River to start doing some cleanup and environmental remediation and some of those things through the EPA. Hopefully that goes through. I don't know. Who knows what the federal government's doing these days?
Zelda, ready to fall back up.
Yeah. So
I think we're ever gonna see it.
there's a handful. The one thing that the only issue we had was we're trying to argue with the EPA. They claim that because they won't give you an EPA grant if you're the one that caused all the problems. And it's kind of hard for the state who owns the land underneath, like the sovereign land, to say, yeah, the state was okay with it since they've had the land since statehood. Anyway, we're arguing with them right now on an appeal. And so hopefully we'll be successful. That's roughly $4 million. And so anyway, that'll be great. We are doing planning out for the State Fair Park. A few of the plans that have to happen, there's some domino effects. If the State Fair Park has put in their plan with the current ag barns, they want to turn into some food and beverage retail, a continual service there. So obviously we have to find a place to put new ag barns so they can move those through. And so that's kind of the process we're going through now. Same thing with White Ball Field, trying to find parking there and potentially an apartment building. So trying to put things, it's like, okay, start where we end and then work our way backwards on how that works. So that's kind of what we're going through with the State Fair Park right now. And then if you remember I don't know when it was, August, whenever, last year sometime, the Larry H. Miller and Gail Family Foundation launched the West Side Community Grants, which was a grant program specifically for the West Side to help with the 5 social determinants of health, which you can read it and tell you is health and medicine, shelter and food security, education, skill development, jobs and economic self-reliance, and cultural and spiritual enrichment. And so far we have, they've given out 38 grants totaling about $550,000 to pure West Side nonprofits to help with some of those aspects. So we have been super excited. Our original seed money was just like, let's do 500,000 and see where it goes. And this has been an awesome turnout, and we're really excited, and hopefully we'll continue giving. So if you have nonprofits in this side in the west side that has not taken advantage of that, look it up, let us know how we can help and hopefully try and, have those, the nonprofits and groups that are out here doing great work continue to do that. So that's kind of where things are. Again, we're trying to tear things down and then we'll build it up. And we haven't done a whole lot of, other planning as we just kind of particularly try to focus on the Jordan River, and get that in a situation that's kind of the key, and then we work out from there. So, any questions? Yeah.
So Rose Park's a working class neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
How is this development gonna help us?
Hopefully one of the things we want to bring is we want to bring more things here. We want to bring jobs, we want to bring education, we want to bring incredible, opportunities.
Those jobs what are those jobs? There'll be construction jobs that pay well at the beginning, but then they're gonna be mostly service jobs after that, correct?
No, we want this to be a hub, I don't have answers on what it is right now, but we are going after, we want office space, we want businesses, we want everything you see on the other side of I-15.
Well, being working class, I don't shop much at City Creek. I shop for needs and not
Sure.
wants. And that's what I think most of this neighborhood does. Yeah, once I imagine people go there, but to me, this is coming across as a high-end development.
I understand that. And when we worked with the city council, that was something that we agreed with, and we don't want there to be a clear divide on North Temple and this is this and this is that. We want it to work well with the community. We don't have lots of answers. We're in the planning process of what that looks like. And we'll continue to come back as we have more plans and things to talk about. So
I think the planning process with all this money on the line, this would all have been thought out ahead of time.
Oh,
If there's this mega millions, and I've worked on gated communities for 30 years of my life. I know what happens inside of it. And I know how we, the working class, are on the outside of it. And this to me is coming across as is going to be high-end apartments. We have enough of those in the city as it is. I mean, all the lower price apartments that we used to have gone away. And now part of the homeless problem is because of that. So we're gonna have something on North Temple, to me, is what's coming across is, well, that's fine. There'll be a good place for come and work and clean offices and work in restaurants and things like that. But for the working class, I don't see how it's gonna help us.
Well, it'd be nice to have restaurants considering we're in a food desert. There's hardly anything here. Mexican to our.
well, we heard you. We heard you. You brought it up last time. You said you have Mexican 5 days a week. We'll do one.
Right.
Start on the
There, there are several hands up, so can we please have people who have raised their hands speak?
Yes, sir.
When the events happen, they already planning on traffic congestions and things like that, because I think gonna be increased around.
Yeah.
Over that bridge over there, or bridge coming in. That is one thing. Second is, I know there's gonna, this business, this construction gonna produce a lot of taxes, sales taxes from the business, which gonna be wonderful. But it's the government or the city, whatever, they plan to apply those taxes to improve our streets, our community. That is in the plan.
Yeah, so your first one on transportation. Last year, the legislature appropriated $500,000 to the Wasatch Front Regional Council. And so the Wasatch Front Regional Council, which is the regional transportation planning entity that Salt Lake County and Salt Lake City are a part of. So Wasatch Front Regional Council, in partnership with UTA, UDOT, Salt Lake City, are doing a transportation study right now to make sure that we have answers to those. And it's an answer on what to do for events, whether it's at a potential ballpark or at the Fair Park in when they have big events, Kilby Court, the State Fair, some of those other ones, but also when the tide goes out and it's the residents that are here all the time. So that currently is in process. And we know a few things. The exit off of I-80 onto Redwood Road is already currently a problem. And so there are some easy things we're talking a lot to see what potential transportation dollars there are especially with the tracks line, right, that runs along through, that's an awesome opportunity, make sure that that works. We're only talking, with Larry at the Fair Park a lot, because obviously he sees that when his events come in, he already knows what doesn't work for theirs and works, so that's currently in process so that we know what those answers are going forward. And then on the taxes side, and spending them in here, that's, what the city does, and so, but we'll advocate for that and, hopefully we'll see some good stuff in the future.
We need some improvements around here with the streets.
So of course, yeah.
They're over there causing a lot of traffic right now.
Yeah.
Imagine when the events going on, gonna be, is a lot. I
Sure.
think gonna be good opportunity for the city to talk to the rail, wherever they are.
Yeah.
And improve that process to make it free, just to go under the rail or wherever, to make the traffic go free.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good thing.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you know, if there is going to be a stadium, I imagine like if there is going to be a Major League Baseball team, tickets are going to be really expensive. And so I'm officially asking if 84116 and 84104 can get a special discount on these tickets. Because it seems like a lot of this stuff is out of reach of people.
Yeah, no, the Miller family made a commitment that we would have ticket prices for everyone. So that's, I mean, we hope all up and down and want it, again, we don't want it to be a separation. We want it to be very much integrated and part of the community. And so yes. Yeah, easy. Yes,
The
sir.
last time you said something, you were working on the Jordan River. You weren't too clear. What does that entail?
So for like remediation, right, what does that plan look like? How do we open it up? How do we bring more access to the river? We would like, particularly on the southern part where Rocky Mountain Power's headquarters is right now, that's kind of the other key component, is where their headquarters are is where the eventual ballpark will hopefully go. And so we need to have them move so we can start having that aspect. And so in the general plan, it would be, well, at least the conceptual plan is would open all that up and bring people to the river. So you have the trail maintained, but how do we alleviate and I guess again, there's a lot of environmental, I mean, you guys know this better than we do, but environmental concerns, opening it up so that the river, I mean, the Fair Park has an awesome amphitheater. And so how do we open that up so there is more recreation as part of the river? How do we elevate that aspect? And so that's what we look at.
If we can't even get our section of the Jordan River under control now.
Well, part of it is if you clean up the spots where they hide, where folks can hide and do some of those things, and just by bringing in some of the activation, that's what will move out, hopefully, a lot of the criminal.
People aren't hiding in Cottonwood Park buying that drivers.
Are being moved from.
Isn't really her purview to solve the crime problem. It's more about making access to the river easier. Our next question.
Hi, Kristen Cook from Rose Park Baseball. Thank you, Larry H. Miller, for Rose Park Baseball, getting new lights for our stadium, showing up for us. I hope that with this idea of a big baseball field, that you continue to support our little leaguers, because yeah, what they're saying is true. Like, our community can't afford to buy tickets to this big stadium, you know, and so helping our community and that positive aspect is kind of what we're here for. I'm hoping to catch a game maybe once a season if that comes, you know, but it's our little leaguers in our community and our kids feeling safe in the park. That's really where we're all kind of coming from. And I've seen some signs that you guys are in our corner, and so keep being in our corner and we'll probably get more excited about this idea. That is all.
Thank you. I just want to, let me check real quick and see. I might have, when we worked with the city, we made a and if it's not on here, I don't have internet to pull it up. Actually, this might be it right here. We made a list of commitments. Yeah, and it's on the Power District website. If this comes up, just a list of commitments from Larry H. Miller to the Power District and to the west side of things that we, of course, freaking Adobe. Anyways, I don't know how. Anyway, I don't know how to do that, but powerdistrict.com, we have the community benefits on there, and if you want, I can email them to you of our commitment to the west side to continue to try and do some of those things. And I will say, I have a Rose Park Nights and baseball lights. Is that the sweater? Yes, it is one of my favorite things, by the way. But anyway, so all I can say at this point is we're still in the planning process. We will continue to come. We'll answer all your questions when we have when we get to the point where we have things to share. We will spitball. We'll come in and do all those things, and we want to know what you want, what you missed, what we can bring so that it is a cohesive part of the project and part of the community. We're not in the business of coming in and planting something that doesn't fit. So we want to celebrate the west side and everything you guys are. So
Awesome. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Right, and for our last presenter, oh yes, please. We do have representatives from the My Hometown projects.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Before she plays this little video, I'm Jared Parker and this is my wife, Marcia. We're with My Hometown. We're a group of 50 people, retired, semi-retired, not retired, just a bunch of old and medium old people who want to make Rose Park and Fair Park a better place. So check out the video, and then we've got 5 little areas that we want to address and tell you what we're doing.
There is some light music here, but you probably can't hear it because we can't figure it out, but we'll watch the video.
There it goes.
Okay, we'll hit this fast because we don't have much time, but Marcia's going to talk about community resource centers that provide neighborhoods with a variety of classes and improve skills. And then I'm going to talk about the days of service.
So one of the things we were asked to do when we started 3 years ago was set up a community resource center to just provide free services for people, because we realized that people have things they want to do, but they don't always have the resources available, and then maybe they are cost prohibitive. So what we have done is we're able to get the use of a building. It was the old Riverside Gym. It's over on 2nd North. It's right by the Fair Park. It's 947 West, 200 North. We offer free English classes. We just started again last week, and people are out the door lining up for this. It's great. We started, we have a pickleball program going every other Saturday. It's free. There will be a tournament this weekend. If you're into pickleball, please join us. And a really amazing thing that they're doing is a college fair. We have 2 amazing women who are donating their time. These women are both have their PhD as school counselors and career guidance counselors. They have partnered with Salt Lake Community College, Davis Applied Tech College, Ensign College, the University of Utah, and Utah Valley University are all coming in on Monday night, March 10th. This is available to all your kids to come and find out what do I want to do if I want to be a plumber, an electrician, or I want to get a law degree, or I want to be a businessman, or whatever. All these colleges are coming in. They'll provide free help, grants, so show these kids how to figure out the system. And it's all free, and it's available to the community. I have flyers that I'll put out for all of these things. You can ask any other questions, but we have computer classes going. We help the Pacific Island Coalition host a diabetes fair. We have youth. We've provided opportunity for, there's basketball and volleyball going on all the time. And we have a really amazing couple who has set up a youth group within the community, and that's free to the kids. We have partnered with the Burton Snowboard Chill Foundation program, and right now they're currently snowboarding on Monday nights, and they'll be doing paddleboarding this summer and skateboarding. But the cool thing is the Burton Foundation not only do they help run the program, they come with the van that picks up the kids. It's all free. All those kids are out there snowboarding with absolutely everything taken care of. Their outfit, their goggles, their helmet, their lessons, their transportation. And we were so excited because we had such an amazing turnout for snowboarding that we think for sure we're going to be able to secure a lot of spots for paddleboarding this summer. So if you have kids that are dying to do this, and it's all free. So make sure you reach out to us. We've had paint nights and build a resume night. And anyway, these are when the community asks us to provide something, then that's what we try to do. We're not going to come in and tell people what they need. We're here to help people with what they want to see have happen.
Okay, days of service. 6 times a year, we organize hundreds of volunteers to come in, and we work with the city. We work with all sorts of organizations. We work with the Buddhist temple. I don't know if you saw the grounds of the Buddhist temple. They got cleaned up a couple of years ago. We went in and took care of that. We got the rock donated, everything else for the xeriscaping, put it in using volunteers. So we get 6 days a year. We plan once a month for 6 months. We plan an activity where volunteers come in and we provide the opportunity. Actually, what we do is we ask the community to identify projects for us. We have a QR code that you can scan, put it in, and then we invite the community and we invite outlying communities to come in and help us. We've cleaned up the Jordan River 4 or 5 times now. and done a significant amount of brush cleanup and paraphernalia cleanup and everything else. I love the Jordan River. I love it. It's my passion. Every time we get a chance to clean it up, I love to do it. And I've got to tell you, I've heard your passion tonight. The most important thing you can do is keep showing up, because that's going to make the difference. This is your neighborhood. This is our city. But the more we show up, the more it's going to make a difference. I went one time down to Texas, where was it on the river?
San Antonio.
San Antonio. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. And every time I get on the river here in Utah, Salt Lake, I think it's gonna one day be fabulous. So keep showing up. We have a QR code that you can scan if you have a project, if you have a neighbor that needs help. We have two different types of projects. One are the projects that take a lot of people and a little money. And those are the projects that are on the river or the street cleanups, as you've seen on 4th North or the other alleyways. We've cleaned up many, many alleyways in our days of service. And the other type of project are the projects that take more money, a skilled labor, and few people. I'm sure you know neighbors who've had their furnaces go out. There's people in the neighborhoods here who don't have heat or don't have water, and we can help. We have sources that can help. So we want you guys to have the number, the QR code. So if you see a need or someplace where we can help, you just scan it, put in the information, and we will send out a couple to talk to the people. Sometimes there's some mental health issues, but we sit with the people, we help them identify what they need, and then we can plug them into resources throughout the city that can help them. Salt Lake has a lot of resources that people are not using, and we're trying to get the community plugged in to the resource. And we sit with them, we help them identify what they need and help them to get the services. We've got roofs put on, we've had fences built, we've cleaned streets, we've put furnaces in, we've put windows in people's houses. Just 50 people, old people, wanting to make a difference. Just like you guys, you showed up tonight. That's what we do. We show up and help people. What'd they miss?
Well, a couple of years ago, okay, my daughter was asked to be, there was a grant through the state, and because of her credentials, she was asked to be a literacy coach at the elementary school. And she wasn't there maybe a week when she reached out to me. I'm a former educator, and I actually went to Backman, and I actually went to Rose Park Elementary, and I went to Northwest Junior High when it was in the old building. So it was a long time ago. And I have a passion for Rose Park because I spent my childhood here. So I'm passionate about it. She called me and said, "Mom, man, this school is a dumpster fire. I hate to tell you, but they've lost 17 teachers last year. And the kids are struggling. And anyway, it's kind of a mess. We need your help. First of all, we need to support the teachers. As a former educator, of course, my heart is there because educators need help. They need to be supported. And any of you out there, you know that. But your kids, the kids need the support too, right? Well, we started with a few people and said, okay, we're here, we're available. Let's get as many volunteers as we can. We're going to get in the school because the data we got back was that Backman alone has a population that is 88% minority, okay? That they were only 8% proficient in their math skills and 19% in their reading. And the state average is 40%. And we all know that it takes time, but it takes effort, but it takes one-on-one to help these kids to get proficient. And so that's what we started to do. We started a reading tutoring program in Backman Elementary School, now two and a half maybe years ago, to the point where we now have 55 volunteers in 4 schools in this neighborhood every single day. We are in Escalante, we're in Newman, we're at Backman, and we just started at Meadowlark. But you know what? We need more people and we need you, and it's not hard. And it's all written out for you, and you just go in and you help with these kids, and we got test scores up across the board. We all know that education is key, and we're really excited about that program. So you're welcome to join us. So we have a little card that tells you our day of service, and it has a QR on it. It just takes you directly to the form, so that you can, it can take you to our webpage, and you're just going to scroll down to days of service, but you can kind of look around. It'll show you what's happening at our CRC and everything else. You have another handout about what he was telling you. If you have something, or you know of someone who needs some help, let us know. I mean, that's where we get 95% of our projects from, is from community, from neighbors who are looking around, who care and whatever. So we're just excited to be here. We love Rose Park. Our hearts go out to you because you have some big challenges. We're here to help on this end, but we're also here to stand with you and fight if that's what we need to do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are about at the curfew of the building, so I'm gonna go ahead and close the meeting.
We'll make a couple quick announcements.
Quick announcements. I'm gonna start stacking chairs. They lock the doors at 8, so.
Okay, quick announcements. Next month, Mayor Mendenhall is going to be here, so please come. We have a vacancy on the Rose Park Community Council. We announced that last week or last month. We've also sent out an email. If you are interested, message us or send us an email. The cutoff for that is going to be this coming Friday. And then
Friday,
this coming Friday.
2 days from today.
Yeah, it's been announced last week. We've had 3 people respond, yes. And then there's an East-West Connections Advisory Board. There's a flyer out on the table for people to discuss how to connect East and West. It's about 10 hours a month commitment, but they do pay you like $35 for participation. So thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Everybody have a great evening.
Thank you for coming tonight, everybody.
Opening day, the Rose City Hall is April 12th. Come by, recommend.
We're here the whole time. We were in the library playing. Get our.